We're live.
Yeah, Hugh used to quote that all the time.
Yeah.
Right before we went live. F it, we'll do it live. Like,
Yep.
oh, it's only episode 300. He's not missed one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Was that Bill?
Bill? Yes, I can't remember his last name. He was.
Why can't I think of his last name?
Uh,
Bill Fox dude.
Yep. He's so crappy. We don't want to remember his name.
Yep. Forgot it.
I can even see the clip in my head.
Yep. Me too.
But, I'm assuming he's still alive. But
I think he. Well.
Here we go.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by two hilarious dads who bring their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to...
Holy crap, it really is a super long intro.
Get ready.
So you started over?
So I started over. But this time with your voice. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. Hey.
It's time to get wise and nerdy. Hey, I'm trying to be better at telling you where to find us at the beginning. So if you're listening to the podcast, we're on YouTube. Wise and Nerdy, wise_n_nerdy. Look, everything's on Linktree, linktr.ee/wise_n_nerdy, WISE and nerdy. So you can follow all of that stuff. We'd love to have your voice. Go to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad. And that's the only one that doesn't have the underscores because I guess you know more about this than I do, Kirk. So I had to ask somebody, I was like, why can't I register this domain? It's like, yeah, you can't do underscores in a domain name because it something about the coding.
It's old timey computer holdovers. No special characters.
So yeah, it didn't have a helmet. I didn't realize it was that special. But that is not what we call to talk about.
Roll that.
Nope, that was a wrong button. I'm not rolling it yet, Kurt. And guess what, though? We made it right tonight. It is two wise and nerdy dads.
Woo!
Joe is out TPing his neighbor's yard, lighting the dog poop on fire, and then ringing the doorbell and running away.
Like you do.
Like he do. So I never did that. Did you ever do any of those pranks?
No. Did I ever TP somebody's yard? If I did, I don't remember it. But otherwise, I was never like that guy.
I wasn't either. And
I was in it for the candy.
Yeah. April Fool's, senior prank day. My dad was a youth pastor, and I had to clean up. Not a ton. It wasn't like the worst thing that ever happened in my life, but I had to clean up toilet paper in the yard more than once.
Yeah.
Because he's like me. He's a bit good sport about things, but I was like, So that does lead us into the pandering of the week. We predicted this question a few weeks ago. What is your weirdest / funniest Halloween tradition?
Okay. So this is a tradition that I started probably about 10 years ago. So a pretty new tradition. And that is to make sure that the porch light is shut off and the door is locked. Because I don't give a crap anymore.
Oh, for Halloween. I don't know. It's got a picture he's going full old man mode. Like, yeah, every night before you go to bed, of course. That's what you do.
Yeah, no, I eased into it where we took the kids out trick-or-treating when they were young, blah, blah, blah. They got older, and then I put out a bucket of candy, and if it was gone by, if trick-or-treating started at 6 o'clock and it was gone by 6:15, I'd be completely fine with it because I don't care. Candy was going to be gone anyway. So, and then I just stopped putting out the bucket and just said, leave me alone, get off my lawn. I just don't care. And honestly, on my street, hardly anybody comes by anyway because it's way too busy.
Ours isn't busy. It's just light. It's very light,
Which is weird because you live in a neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just not a lot of kids. And honestly, it's almost that old adage of we're gonna go to the big house neighborhood to get the good candy.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have some people come by. I think my kids go around every once in a while and do it. I was never that guy ever. As a kid growing up, of course, I wanted to be. So my buddy Hugh, as you know, he was here this past week, and we went to the Grave Face Museum in Savannah, which is basically a oddities and serial killer kind of museum with pinball.
Okay.
Now, and the pinball happens to be all horror themed pinball, like Addams Family and
Haunted
Dracula and
house.
stuff. Yeah, I think it had haunted house. I think so. Yeah.
Classic pinball machine right there.
Yeah, some of these were very original. But crap, I forget where I was going with. Oh, the Halloween tradition. Oh,
Grave
so we're going
face.
through-
Yeah.
Yeah. We went through one of the rooms, and it had Halloween costumes. I guess like kind of a history of it or whatever. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you remember that?" And he pointed to this one that was obviously from the '70s, and vinyl and original. And he's like, "You remember those? They come in the box. You go to whatever he said, like J.C. Penney's or something, and get it in the box, and it come out in the vinyl. And you put it." I was like, I didn't say anything. Like, and we moved on. It's like, Hugh, you've met me. No, I didn't know that because my parents didn't let me trick or treat. There was never going to be a costume, not even a Christian one. So I didn't want to burst your bubble while we're in there, but no, butt face. And that was the thing. I'm so scarred about Halloween. I grew up in the 80s, so the whole white van kidnapping thing that I honestly don't know the truth of because I know it never happened around my area.
Right.
Then the whole razor blades in the candy scare and the needles in the candy scare and the X-ray your candy scare. Yeah, I grew up. So it was just never going to be a thing. But my parents always found a church one to go to. It was a fall festival, which somehow made it different. It was on a Wednesday night, no matter what, unless, of course, Wednesday night was Halloween. Then it might not be on a Wednesday night.
Right.
And it was the worst candy. It was the worst time. I mean, some of the churches we went to were pretty big. It was kind of cool, but it was just the worst. And I honestly have a major issue with that. It's like if you're going to condemn something, don't steal it and whitewash it and make it worse than it was to start with.
Right. So. Yeah. I'm a little older than you, but I mean, we had heard about the razor blade thing and all of that.
I don't think that ever really happened, to be truthful.
I don't think so either. Like, I don't remember even reading an account of it actually happening somewhere. There was always a fear-mongering news story that said, make sure you scan your stuff. And it was always the razor blade and the apple thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, well, one, if anybody's giving out apples, they need to go away. Two, I never got apples trick-or-treating because we never, if we identified a house where they were giving out apples or oranges, nobody would go there. Like, we would know. Yeah. And just like, no, we're not doing that. So, yeah. The whole thing is a little crazy. There was always the street, the house on the street where they would give away like baked cookies or, they would have some homemade thing, which were fine. They were fine. There wasn't any like laced with cyanide or anything else, like nothing nefarious. Nobody roofied my oatmeal raisin. But I mean, But I also I don't remember going trick or treating with my parents. No, I do once when my brother had broken his leg. I had to go with an extra sack to get candy for him as well.
Yes.
And I think it happened. It was the worst Halloween ever. I think it happened to be the time where one of the things that happened when I was in school is they would do UNICEF as well. Yep. And so we'd have these stupid little orange boxes where we were supposed to collect change while we were trick-or-treating. Yeah. And I was like, oh, come on. Now I have a job while I'm trying to get candy. Right. Leave me alone.
I mean, I'm 30. I work for a living. Leave me alone.
Right. Right. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, otherwise, I went out a lot of times without my parents at all. Like it was just we were wandering the streets for a couple hours or so, and then come home.
Yeah. I mean, kids, I think, did that in my neighborhood too. Now, here's the thing, though, with the trick or treating, my parents would never stay home. My mom would put a bucket out front with a note, and we'd leave. If for some reason we couldn't leave or something, I don't remember exactly why we stayed home, but she'd make sure to turn the light off
Yeah.
and not put a ball out there. So I grew up going, man. And then, of course, by the time I'm old enough to make my own decisions, you don't go trick or treating as a young adult and an adult
Yeah.
and all that. And
It gets weird around 13, 14 years old. You're like going,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I like to flip it. Like if I am, I do mean, I'm not like in person, but I like to be mean to the little kids. Like I said, glue the big candy bar to the bowl and all that. But if I see some like teenagers walking around, like, hey, here you go, dudes, have at it. Here's some candy.
yeah.
But yeah,
One of my favorite things was the dude who would dress as a scarecrow and set himself up on the porch holding the pot of candy, but wouldn't move.
Uh-huh.
And then kids would come up to get some candy out of the bowl, thinking it's just a decoration, and then he'd grab them.
Yep.
Freaking hilarious with the little kids screaming.
I mean, I get it, but also it just seems really mean at the same time. But so when my kids came up, I was honest with them about the stories and whatnot, and so we make everything like a marathon, and Aaron has hit probably 10 different festivals over the last 2 weeks. Be it community festivals, city festivals, churches, whatever. Usually 2 or 3 in one night, here or there. And so we've racked up a decent amount of candy, and then there's a really good chance tomorrow we'll go roll by the things. And so when they got old enough, for a while when they were young, I was like, no, they're not going there. And finally, they got to be a safe enough age, like between 9 and 11, where they could still go do it, and their uncle would take them, and this and that and the other. So I let them do that. And then they basically did it once. They don't care. Now my oldest ones are trying to find like Halloween parties. I'm like, hey, doofuses, you're underage. You're not going to find the parties you're trying to look for.
Right.
Because I sheltered you from high school, so you don't know the morons that have that. And when you're old enough, you'll get in a safer place. So
Yep.
give it a few more years.
Yep.
So,
Roll that dice.
all right. I actually did forget to get some dice out, so hold on. Those are your keys, old man.
They're not, but that's all right.
What was that? Sound like a remote.
A little benchy.
Oh, you're Bodie. You're a Bodie. Okay, all right. Got the dice. I don't have a camera fancy like Joe. Let's see. It is a 2, which is Daddy. Tell me a story. And oh, yeah. You have been with your wife for 1 billion years.
Yep.
So I know you have to have a story for this. The category is for 500, Alec. Dreams you or someone close to you had that affected the real world. Now, if you really want to go on a limb and do psychic stuff, sure, we can go with that. But I mean, I worked a 48-hour shift.
Yep.
One weekend, and my son was very, very young. My wife was pregnant with my daughter, and in Georgia's real big ice storm came through and took down the phone lines. And it was in the early days of cell phones, so we had some Nextels is what we had then. I took the tower out. And so we didn't, they took everything out. So she didn't have power for a little bit and this and that, but she had no way to reach me for 48 hours.
Yep.
And then she had a dream that I cheated on her. And then I come home after not being able to talk to her for 48 hours, checking on her and the kiddos, and she's mad at me. Because in the dream, she came home, and we're in her house and her bed and all this other stuff. And then she woke up, and I wasn't there and couldn't talk to me. 2 days she sat on this, dude. 2 days, give or take.
Yep.
And I come home going, oh, baby, oh, kids. Metaphysically get punched in the face. I'm like,
Yep.
What is going on? So, Kurt, sir, Please regale me with your story.
So really, the only one that I can recall was when I started dating my wife, and so I'm talking like I was 16 years old,
Okay.
and I was fiercely jealous back then, like just ridiculously jealous, and she and
Sorry,
in
real quick. Sorry.
yeah,
Did you sound like this at 16?
not quite. I mean, my
Okay.
voice had changed, but it wasn't as
That's what I
it,
was saying. If you sounded like hot gravy at 16, you're
No.
just imposter syndrome, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have been 400 pounds, but you sound like Barry White. You had to let. All right. So I'm sorry. You were 16. You're jealous. What happened?
Yeah. So I had a dream that she cheated on me with my brother,
Oof.
and my brother and I shared a room. And so I wake up and he says something to me, and I may have yelled a few expletives at him, not realizing that I had been in a dream, like just thinking it was real for about, I want to say like 2 minutes, and like 2 solid minutes.
Wow.
And then I went, wait a minute, that didn't happen. Like I had to like literally reset myself and say, oh wait, no, that was a dream. But like really half the day I was still ticked off at my brother. And
Right, it
and
lasted.
it did, because it felt so real at the time. Yeah.
Even weirder is between the ages of 10 and 14. I really can't pinpoint it. It was a phase of my life where, even though I had bunk beds and a room to myself, so I had multiple places to sleep, I slept on the floor by the door. Probably some childhood trauma in there, I'm sure, but I don't know. I was just there. Random Kid's trying to get Joe to show up. He goes, Joe Art.
Yep.
No, he's not Beetlejuice. He didn't show up. So he's not even lurking, watching either. I can tell. But anyway, I had this dream where I was sleeping on the floor like I did, with my head towards the door, and the hallway light was on, and my door was open in my dream, and my dad came to say something to me. And it's not like we'd been in a fight or anything. We were getting along and everything. But he had a baking sheet of eyeballs.
Yep.
And they honestly, in my child brain, the best I can remember, they look like cookie eyeballs and not like real ones or whatever.
Right.
No, Kelsey. No, he has the night off. No, he's like, oh, we're done trick-or-treating. He should. No. So anyway, I'm going to ban him from the studio so he shows up. But he never cooked. He never baked. So to have a baking sheet of cookie-looking eyeballs, but yet at the same time they freaked me out, so I didn't want them. So he force-fed me these eyeballs, and I woke up, and I was pissed. I was angry with him for 2 days.
Wow.
I had no idea why. I had no idea why really either.
That is crazy.
It was weird. All right, let's roll some more dice. Here we go, Bob.
Roll that die.
I think we should do 1 out of 6 chance that Joe can come on the show. If he rolls a botch, we'll let him stay.
Right.
All right, we've got a number 3, and number 3 is, all right. How do I, Kurt? It is the category for 400. Kurt is know when to make a decision based off of what if, and that's going back and forth with cars and different things. I was thinking again about my daughter's car the other day, and how there's been times when I was right in between. It can be on any what if, but my recent example is it can be right in between. Okay, do we sink $3 or $4 grand into fixing it, or do we take that same $3 or $4 grand and put it as a down payment?
Right.
Eliminate the question: do we even have the $3 or $4 grand? It's so. I want to kind of talk through the idea of how do I know when to make a decision based off of what if versus A, B, and C are the facts that I have, and I can do that. No, Joe, you have not. Go away. He didn't bring me a Slurpee for Halloween, so
yeah. He might be at your door right now. But what if he did?
I would let him on the show. I'd let him show right now. Come here.
Right. So I guess, it really depends on the level, right? So, because you can what if yourself into inaction.
Exactly,
right? And so,
yeah.
So I think there's a healthy level of. So what if is just a step past in my mind for being prepared for bad things to happen.
Okay.
Or good things to happen. But so like, let's say like you guys are going to Conjuration, right? Or did that already happen?
No, that's coming up.
Okay, that's coming up. You're going to Conjuration, right?
Yeah.
So you might say, what if one of your guests don't show?
Okay.
Right. And so that's not a bad thing to be prepared for, right? Sure. And it probably doesn't take a whole lot of energy. Like you can just say, if they don't show, then we'll just do this.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you know.
What if we change it up to the you can only know so many things before it's the unknown. Again, example being kind of the car situation. Okay, the unknown is what else could go wrong? How long would it last? And
right.
The also unknown is what could go wrong with the new car. I mean, you can't bury yourself into. So, oh man, I know this guy who does like months of research before he just goes and buys a simple used car.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in the days when you could get a used car for $5,000.
Right.
And he's Consumer Reports and all this. It's like, how low's the mileage? That's what I want. Has it been in a wreck? That's what.
Right.
So I mean, you can over prepare and under prepare, but Kurt, where do you draw the line for yourself between over and under preparedness?
So I actually, I only because I went through this with my car. I had my Prius for 310,000 miles, as far as I know, and every time it came to my inspection time, it would cost me around $1,000 on average per year. And so I did go through the whole, well, what if I buy a new car? And I did the whole, or a new to me, like just used. And I did the whole, well, okay, so it would be a payment for this much per month at the very least.
Yeah.
My insurance would go up a little bit. And these are like easy answers, right? They're not even things that take a lot of research. It's just I know that's what that would be. But I wouldn't have that yearly maintenance, that $1,000, in all likelihood.
Right.
But for me, that was simple math, because $1,000 divided up over 12 months versus a car payment every month for 12 months plus increased insurance. It was a no-brainer. It was easy math. You make the repairs all the time.
What I think you're honestly talking about is you really got to oversimplify your target. Like mine is distance traveled, right? That can be miles per gallon, distance per charge, whatever we're talking about. I want to maximize my distance between whatever I have to do to make the car go. Okay.
Sure, but like, what's the actual bang for the buck? And so I'll give you, like, since we're staying with we're in a car metaphor, right? Gas station across town is 10 cents per gallon cheaper than the gas station nearest you.
Sure.
Right? And so some people will go, well, I'm going to that one because it's 10 cents per gallon cheaper.
But you're talking about the difference in maybe 20 cents in a big picture.
Well, let's say it's a 12-gallon tank and you are empty.
Okay.
That's $1.20.
Sure.
Is it worth even your time going across town to get the cheapest gas?
I'm with you. I've been there. I am with you. No, from my opinion. However, it is worth my time to plan my fill up to when I'm on that side of town.
That's the
lowest price. Exactly.
That's cool. That's taking advantage of the situation. But there are people who get in their car and they go to that one just to get the cheapest gas.
Sure.
and that seems silly to me. Like $1.20. Like what are we talking about? Like, and it's not $1.20 every but if it was $1.20 every day, I could even justify making that trip. Maybe. But it's not even. Maybe $1.20 a week.
I mean, I just love that I get 36 to 40 miles per gallon on my car. And even though they've done a lot of efficiencies where my buddy who drives big trucks like, oh yeah, well I get 30 miles per gallon. I was like, yeah, but you still spent $100 at the gas tank to make that happen, bud.
Yeah.
So, Joe, why wouldn't you even hit the button yourself? Why? Why are you making me bobble for ARDs?
I just wanted to see if you really wanted me here. That's all. And apparently you did.
You should know better. You should know better. I give RandomKid what he wants. That's what I do. Me and Kurt were grumping out without you. It's all fun and dandy.
So what was the candy of the night, Joe? What was the big haul?
Let's see. So the one that my middle child was the most excited for was someone was giving out. Bob's the middle child, according to you. It was a huge, like king size Rice Krispie treat. Like it was a huge Rice Krispie treat, and that's what he's that's what he was the most excited for. But
is pretty cool. Now, is it a real one or is it one of those boxes that has a bunch of little ones in it?
No, it's a real one.
Good. Yeah, the real ones are really cool. I got disappointed when we got a candy bar we opened up. It's just a bunch of regular sized candy bars inside. I was like, that's not what we wanted.
Yeah. So look, Rice Krispie treats are kind of the trash of snacks.
Oh, I like Rice Krispie treats.
They're fine. They're fine. But I can name 10 Little Debbies that are better than a Rice Krispie treat.
I mean, that's fine. My uncle.
No, do it.
Oh, easily. Okay, so we got your nutty bars. You got your Star Crunch is even better than a Rice Krispie treat. You got your oatmeal
Rice Krispie treat though.
Not really. You've got your oatmeal pies. You got your peanut butter pies. You got your Swiss rolls. The peanut butter pies are good. Look, we're getting around to the right time. You got your Christmas cakes, and if you don't like those, you can do the zebra cakes.
Same difference.
Yeah. So let's see. What else do we got? I said the Swiss rolls, right? I guess you could do the strawberry rolls. Those are as.
You got five. That would absolutely.
So
Rice Krispie treats.
It's funny you mentioned Little Debbie. Little Debbie sponsored a park near us. And some of the equipment there is literally giant versions of their stuff. And I'm surprised that they don't have a vending machine there with Little Debbie's in it.
Well,
but
that'd be great.
The park, right?
but yeah, so it's a newer park, so my kids have really enjoyed going there, and they've got a zip line, and so they're loving it.
Yeah, so somebody because I've been doing a 3D print thing, somebody made a 3D printed box that looks exactly like the Christmas cakes, and it holds a box of Christmas cakes. I won't be printing that out, but yeah.
I go for the Big Deborahs. I don't like the Little Debbies. I need the Big Deborah, the oversized oatmeal cream pie. The best.
Well, you talking about the double deckers?
No, those are too much oatmeal. We go to like BJ's or Berkeley. You might have Costco or Sam's, and it is the size of my hand. It's like 2.5 of the regular size oatmeal cream pies, and it's so soft because the oatmeal cream pies are a little.
They have to be fresh. They have to be fresh. Like the fresh ones aren't tough to chew. I know exactly what you're talking about because I bought way too many of them.
The big ones is almost like a double doozy cookie. Right?
Okay.
It's soft oatmeal cream. It's a soft the oatmeal part, and then the cream, of course, is so good. And it actually tastes just a little bit different. It's almost like a triple stuffed Oreo. I'm weighing myself, but that's okay. All right. Hey, Joe, roll the dice. Do something already. Who doesn't like fresh? I have a coworker who doesn't like fresh peeps. She cracks them open to get stale. Interesting. We've already done 2.
All right, which means it's time for your favorite.
Bad dad joke.
No, wait. Just wait. Honestly, just wait just a second. This is apropos to the night, the situation, and the crap that's about to come down on us.
Ow,
Yeah.
ow.
Yeah,
Man.
I think I could have convinced Kurt to skip this segment, but the second you show up, the dice, just whatever.
Yep, it just whatevers. All right. So what do you call going number 1 at a haunted house? A creepy peepee.
Oh my!
But what if you have to go number 2?
No,
And it's a spooky dookie.
Knock, knock, Joe.
Who's there?
Philip.
Philip who?
Fill up my bag with candy.
Okay, I thought you were going Phil with poo.
Oh.
Philip poo.
Oh, that's just rude.
Oh, you okay there, Charles? You good?
And just for the record, Peeps are worse than Rice Krispie treats.
Man, you're grumpy as crap. You don't like nothing.
No, it's because they're trash.
So you just don't like marshmallows.
I don't like Pete.
I like marshmallows just fine, but Peeps are not good. They're just not.
In
If you
this
say so.
remake of Ghostbusters, it stars Joseph Ard, myself, Kurt, and Phil. The one bringing on the monster would be Kurt. He would think about his favorite candy, and it might be the marshmallow Stay Puft Man.
No,
The
if I
rest
was
of
in
us would easily have blank minds.
if I was in the movie, it would have been a giant Pez dispenser animated. Is what would have happened. That especially when that movie came out, it definitely would have been that.
Yeah. So, all right, hey, we get to roll again, Joe, roll again.
All righty.
55.
Time for a commercial break.
All righty then.
Brought to you by Cosmic Brownies. Cosmic Brownies is decidedly better than Rice Krispie treats.
I mean, I am a big fan of the Cosmic Brownie.
So, hey, if you want to support the show, go over to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. And you too can be like Random Kid and summon Beetle Joe, and bad dad jokes will appear. Well, let's just chill out for a minute while animated Deadpool does his thing. All right, so Kurt and I decided we're going to start talking holidays like 3 to 6 months in advance. So instead of Halloween, let's talk New Year's resolutions. I want to do the whole thing where I learned something new this year, right? This coming year. I know New Year's is whatever. It's just what made up holiday, and time is arbitrary. But Kurt, I think, didn't you say every year you do something new, or was that Hammond?
That was Hammond.
Hammond said.
It was
so
Hammond.
Yeah, Hammond was like, yeah, I learned something. And I've heard that people have like, oh, I want to make sure I read a new book or challenge myself with a new thing. That's a whole keeping your brain young thing. I've always wanted to make some kind of music. I've had bands, I've played instruments, I've written things, and I want to make that kind of music. So just kind of mellow, positive, groovy. It's got a beat, it feels good, and then it comes in and there's some little disruptions, and I just love it. So I got to teach myself how to do that.
Okay. So, are we talking about a New Year's resolution?
More or less. But I do mine now. Like, hey, by the way, last year at this time, I said by the end of 2024, I was going to have 24 speaking engagements. And the guideline of that was it couldn't be like a podcast I put together. I just had to basically be invited for it.
Right.
And by the time Conjuration ends in November, I will have 34 engagements completed in my Halloween year's resolution. So that's what we're doing, Kurt. So I guess I'm going to start learning this holiday season how to make house techno groovy EDM. I'm not sure. It's EDM by definition, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I am decidedly kind of against New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
But not because I'm a grumpy old man, but because why wait?
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I'm always people are like, New Year, new me. Time is arbitrary. They could have sneezed and said New Year's is right in the middle of summer. It's arbitrary, man. So yeah, I'm with you on that. So I'll do it now.
And it actually comes back to the weight loss thing for me, where we fall into these I'm going to start on Monday syndrome, and my answer to that is why. And people usually have an answer if they have an answer, and most of the time they don't. But if they have an answer, it's usually, well, I just want to start the week fresh. And my response to that is, so what if you started the week fresh by starting your next meal to be better? And then you'd have a running start into the week, which would be a great start to the week. And because the waiting until Monday thing is by and large an excuse. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Joe, I think I started my diet on a Wednesday.
You could have been trick-or-treating every day this week, but you waited. Come on, man.
Who says I didn't?
Yeah, you could have been knocking on doors all week long.
There were plenty of trunk or treats around here.
Oh my God, dude. I just realized how you could get me to go to trick-or-treating. Is starting a literal 1 week before Halloween, I'm going to put on my Mormon white shirt and tie and go knock on all the doors and say, have you heard about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Every night. And then I get to Halloween and I show up in the same outfit and go, yeah, just kidding. Happy Halloween. Trick or treat. Give me some candy.
Wow.
It's a psychological trick, man. I love it. I didn't mean to hit that again. So, yeah. No, I'm with you, Kurt. It's right. So, Joe, what's your All Hallows Eve resolution, sir?
I don't know. To make sure that my kids don't realize that I'm skimming the candy so that I can put it in their Christmas stockings and their Easter baskets.
Yes. The best, my friend. That is the best.
When my kids were young, I figured a way to deal with that more on the up and up. And that was they got to eat one piece of candy a day. That stuff lasts forever.
Oh, yeah.
If they go to any kind of a busy neighborhood whatsoever, literally, I think we had Halloween candy through Christmas, and then they got candy at Christmas, and so that lasted through Easter.
Yeah, no, and I got you. And you grew up in a lesser. In all honesty, with the candy industry, you grew up in a lesser time. By the way, you want to hear an interesting number? You want to hear an interesting number? The Halloween industry this year, $2.4 billion profit.
Is that it?
Up from $1.2 billion last year. Halloween is the weakest sauce of all the freaking dude. No.
But no, so speaking of that, our question for November 21st is, what's your favorite holiday? So if you want to call in and talk about what your favorite or least favorite holiday is, go to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad.
And we have a speak pipe to play, but right now, real quick, before I forget, you know how you can go to BJ's, Costco, Sam's Club, and get the big clear bucket of pretzels? It's like a 2.5 gallon jug.
Yeah.
We did that, ate all the snacks of it, and then we put all the Halloween candy in that. If it doesn't fit, we give it away. So you only have the one big jug of candy. And then you put it in the closet, and they forget about it. And that's how you give it away next year.
Sure.
All right, here comes this from Diva Site.
Do you want me to play it?
Reset your computer, man. Your computer isn't that old. It should not be behaving like that. If you've got good backups, you should be able to reset your computer at the drop of a hat. I use OneDrive. It's integrated. Got the 1 terabyte storage. You could use, Google Drive, whatever your saver. I don't care. If you've got good backups, you keep your stuff in a good place, you can always recover it. If you're afraid of losing things, then you've got bad backup habits because let's face it, your computer could die anytime. I have a laptop that worked great for many years, and I did one stupid thing, and this thing would not boot. Reset it, boom, restored everything, logged back in. I was good to go. So, you should be able to just down there in the search, just type reset. First thing that pops up, reset your PC, start the process, man. If not, clone your hard drive, make a backup of it, and then reset whatever. There's lots of different ways, but reset, man. You need to.
Don't rely on cloud backup.
I looked
have a
all
local.
over in my computer. I don't see the reverse gear, so I don't back up. I just go forward, baby. That's what I do.
Yep. Nothing bad ever happens if you think that way.
So I have what I need backed up in multiple places, but I don't do active backups because this is literally a workstation. All my games are digital. Like, of course, all games are digital, but like they're either in Steam or Epic Store. All my main software is either browser based or I can easily go and just re-download it, which would I have to do anyway. You can't really back that up. So the main files, actually, even for my shows currently, can be recreated if needed. But that's what I do have backed up. I have templates and some other stuff backed up and Google Drive and all that. But honestly, this is a burn station. And trust me, before I got to Pokemon Go, my highest downloaded episode was the one where my hard drive kind of melted right in the middle of recording the episode and I chunked the mouse across the room. So I understand. I am thinking about this. So this is one last question about it. I really don't care about the backup part because, like I said, I might throw up this new wallpaper folder I put together just of newer Deadpool stuff. I really don't have anything worth saving. But I'm wondering how much having multiple profiles on this computer matters. Because my daughter has her own profile to do her own gaming stuff that she has all her own backgrounds and whatnot.
Yeah, and what's she clicking on? All kinds of viruses.
I think that would have shown up differently, Joseph. I just meaning that. Don't smile at me like that. That schmarmy. My favorite holiday is the one where Joe does show up knocking on the door with the Slurpee. And we haven't found
Slurpee Day.
So, but you don't back up. You put your own quote in for the title of the show. I have bad backup habits.
It's true. I do have bad backup habits. I really do.
Do you have stuff you need to back up?
Yeah.
Like what?
I have my photos backed up, but that's about it right now, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, that's all I care about. And they're all on cell phones. And so that's why I got Google Drive, because Google Photos, whatever they call it, it's not just photos because it's a 3 terabyte drive, 2 terabyte, whatever it is. But was way cheaper. Well, it's actually a little more expensive than Apple. But Apple, just so you know, if you never thought about it, they do back it up. But it's a daily sync. So if you delete the photos off your phone, which is what I want to do, because I don't like scrolling through 5,000 photos if I'm looking for, you delete it off your phone, it's out of the iCloud. But the Google one we went with for $20 a year. So I guess it's about whatever. It's about the same as Apple. But it's all Google, which I like some Google products. I like using their Drive a lot. And so all the phones I pay for, so the 2 oldest kids' phones and me and my wife's phone, all have the Google Photos app, and it uploads all the photos. So that's done. But the rest of it's whatever. All right, so we got the speak pipe. We asked a future question of the week. I think it's time to roll the dice.
Sure is.
Clickety clack.
We've already done that one.
Yep.
There we go.
Council of Dads.
It's the parliament of papas. I worked hard on that.
Papas!
Bob, you're killing me.
You weren't even the one that suggested it.
I
You
didn't say
worked
I
hard
created
on it.
I worked hard on it. I got it perfected. What did you just do, sir?
I
What
pushed the
did you just
button.
No, when I was fussing, right after I
No.
fussed. What did you do?
Papas! Yes.
Uh-huh.
We all know about
Everybody at home listening to the podcast is doing the same thing. Worked hard at that. You got me? All
Sure.
right.
And yet you
So
still play
hard.
the old recordings.
That was Joe hitting that button. I don't know what that was. All right. So anticipating it was just going to be Kurt and I made this very styled to Kurt, but we'll see what you got to say, Joe. How do we introduce our kids to, I specifically picked Marvel because there's a great show out there called This Week in MCU that sometimes puts on an episode. Well, not sometimes. They put on an episode when there's stuff to talk about.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But how do we introduce our kids to Marvel and I put in some age ranges, they're just random to say young, really young to kind of young to not so young to teenager.
Spidey and his amazing friends is great for young kids.
Okay.
That is true. Also, my granddaughter, for example, loves the I Am Groot shorts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And, like literally, she'll come over and we'll.
3.
Oh no, she's about to turn 5 next week.
Oh, wow.
But
other kids' ages.
yeah, but at like 3 to 4, she was asking for Groot, and she would come over and she'd go, Groot, and it's like, okay, you want to watch Groot? Yep, and we just watch it, and she laughs like the Groot where he's in the mud pit and growing sprouts and then shaping them all up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
She started getting into it. And knows who Spider-Man is now, and it's early. But like when my kids were younger, it was really like Iron Man, and starting early before there was this huge Marvel thing. So I really have to do that to backfill. So. What about you, Joe? You got younger kids.
Yeah, so they watched a bunch of the animated stuff, but they haven't watched the movies just yet.
Oh, okay.
We've been talking about introducing it to them. We just haven't gotten around to it because we're still working on The Hobbit with them. So that, and we're watching some anime with them as well. So we'll get to it eventually.
And how old are they again?
11, 10, and 5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, certainly the MCU is probably fine for the 11 and 10-year-old for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it should be fine.
Yeah. 5, it's probably a little above their head.
Yeah. Well, he tends to just tune out anyway when we're watching stuff. A lot of times he'll just grab his iPad and be like, okay, I'm just going to tune out.
Yep.
When we're like, whatever, that just means you're not climbing all over us and bugging us because you're bored.
Right.
Well, you read from the book of Bluey. I figured you'd be stealing from that. It's like, oh, mommy's a whale who only eats nachos. I thought that's the only episode I ever knew because that's the one that was on the dentist's office. I was like, that's the best.
You pull a face, Kurt, but that's an actual episode where the parents are just tired. And yep.
I believe you, but have you all seen the horror festival that is Coco Melon?
Oh, I've seen bits of we've seen some Coco Melon, but no, I don't like.
I cannot believe some of the stuff I was watching on there.
No, thank you.
Like they were all but teaching karate to toddlers. It was the weirdest. It was weird.
Is way, like million times better than Coco Melon.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Clearly, they need to bring Bluey into the MCU.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nah, we're good. This was
Bluey.
Okay.
Bluey can be friend with what's it? Cosmo the dog. There you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So with little kids, my kids didn't have a lot of options. They ended up watching some older stuff, but And I got this stupid ad on here. Block the title. Oh, crap. I just had it, man.
We don't see that.
I know you don't see it. That's why it's called a podcast. I'm doing color commentary while I'm buying time to get back to the show. Now, the Spidey and his amazing friends was okay for us. It just didn't land as well in our house as
Well,
the
it's for
Superhero
younger.
Squad show did. No, they were about the right age. Zoe was, but the Superhero Squad show landed
Superhero
way
Squad show. I don't know
Yeah,
if I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, it was based on these chunky kind of play school action figure type
kinda,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they absolutely partnered.
No,
with
they-
one of
they
those
are
companies
Play
to
School.
make those toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was actually really brilliantly written, and that's one of the best iterations of MODOK I've ever seen. It was as an adult.
You mean
know?
you don't like the
I
one
didn't say I
from the
didn't like
movie?
it. I didn't say I didn't like it. I actually was okay with it.
I was just reading between the lines like you told me to.
And the one
Look,
the
when
one
I
they did
tell
on
you
Hulu.
It's a
the-
note.
Yeah, the one they did on Hulu was better, although poorly written. It was terrible. But Patton
the
Oswalt
one
as
Patton Oswalt.
MODOK.
It was so bad.
It was the writing that was bad. Everything else about it was
Sure.
fine. But
Well, Clearly, they should have stuck him in the belly of a robot and just brought in Krang.
It's not so. All right, the next age up. Honestly, Joe, I think it's time to write this with at least Malachi. Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow.
it's not bad.
Avengers. We may have watched that one. That's a
I would not
movie,
be
isn't it?
surprised if you did.
Yeah. It's an animated release.
Next Avengers: Heroes of Tomorrow. Yeah, we have that one. We have watched that one.
Bob might even be ready for that one. That's pretty decent.
But I would not suggest Deadpool and Wolverine releasing on November 12th on Disney Plus.
All my kids have watched it already.
Yeah, no, I know, but
I haven't seen it.
I'm going to be freeze framing the crap out of that thing.
I am that y'all need to do an MCU. Yeah, this week in MCU.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
But then one for the adults that I watched with my young teens and preteens, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah. That's the just straight up animated series.
With the Linkin Park inspired opening theme, and it's
good. It was really good.
so good. It was so good. And that's what I like to do to introduce my kids. Like, okay, I watched there was one with the DC girl. I think it's called DC Rise, where it's the women of DC and younger girls of DC.
That was wasn't it just I know what you're talking
There
about.
was a young one by DC, but there was another one. No. I'm thinking of Marvel.
You're Marvel Rising Heroes or something
Yes,
like that.
there
Yeah.
was that
Was that one
one.
with Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
And then the DC one that you're talking about is Superhero Girls, I
Something
think,
like
or
that,
something
yeah.
like that.
And neither one of them really landed right for my daughters. Go ahead, Joe.
You ever watch X-Men Evolution?
Yeah. Yep.
No.
Where they're in high school and Mystique is one of their teachers?
Yep.
It was all right.
It was all right.
I think my favorite part of that was there was a scene where they're telling Nightcrawler to just bamf out of a jet, and he's like, when I bamf, I continue at the same acceleration that I'm at. So if you want me to bippity boppity boppity splat, then we can do that.
Right.
Just give them some good armor, and that's almost like a great cannonball run.
They actually the problem with the X-Men animated stuff is after the 97 the original
the original
97 one, they did like 4 or 5 different series, like just one after another, trying to find something that stuck, and they were all pretty good in their own right. It's just you couldn't really stick with anything for a while.
That reminds me, there's a Wolverine anime that I had on my Netflix list that I meant to go watch. And
I think I've seen. There's a couple of X-Men animes out there that they're pretty good.
Well, there's a whole
At least
series
a
of
couple I've
Marvel.
seen.
There was a whole series of Marvel ones that they did. They did an X-Men one. They did a Wolverine one. They did an Iron Man one.
So I still need to watch the Batman one where he's a samurai. I haven't watched that.
Oh yeah, which was pretty good actually.
I've heard great things about
Yeah.
it. Now here's a real question about it. when it doesn't matter about the age, we've answered that pretty well, I think. When you finally sit down and go, okay, kiddo, we are going to take this on. Today you're going to be an adult. We're going to take this on. And they're like 13, whatever. Do you do it in chronological release like we experienced it? Or do you do it in the Marvel timeline ability that you have on Disney Plus?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I'm just gonna say, in general, when it comes to fandoms, I feel like you should watch it in release order the first time. Obviously, on rewatches, do whatever you want, but I think if you want the most authentic experience, release order is what you're looking at.
I tend to agree, but I think it's fun to go back and watch in actual chronological order after that, just to kind of get a different perspective. But the release order the thing is, they set things up, like at the stingers and whatnot, set things up for the following movies that come out often. And so if you take that stuff out of rotation, it gets weird sometimes.
Maybe. I actually have not watched it in chronological order yet. And see, my thing is,
Disney Plus, you can actually look at it and it gives it to you in chronological order.
RandomKid, roll the tape back and play where I said, like you have the ability to on Disney Plus. Thank you. So I'm thinking there was also some weaknesses in. Thank you, RandomKid. He said, I got you, Charles. There were some weaknesses in how we got some stuff released. So I'm wondering. I think it would be interesting to do it in the timeline order, because my kids are like me. We don't tend to go back and watch stuff. Now I will rewatch stuff like The Matrix or whatever when it's their first time, right? Let's I don't know. Like, okay, would you apply that to Star Wars? Do you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or do you go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9?
My older two have watched Star Wars. They watched it in release order. Jebediah has not yet, and we were actually just talking about how we need to do that, and we're planning on watching it in release order.
So 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
I saw it in release order because I lived through it.
Right.
But I did go back and watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And
I can't get past the weakness of the first trilogy. It just
felt weak.
It just bugs me. And look, I know that
I mean, my kids,
like my kids, that it was their first Star Wars as well, and so it hits them different. And honestly, if you think about it, if 1, 2, 3 were our first, and then we got 4, 5, 6, we can talk about 7, 8, 9. But I mean, but then we got 4, 5, 6. It would have just been getting better for 6 movies. You could argue Empire versus Jedi,
you.
Right? I mean,
but obviously it would hit differently though, because you wouldn't have that huge reveal of "I am your father."
But it's different bad.
That was a big reveal, man. I mean,
but my kids know the meme before they see the movie nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. You know where it makes a difference? When Leia kisses Luke in Empire, right? And at the time, it was just innocent. It was no big deal.
Were they named in 3? And then to 3 when
yes, they were specifically mentioned as Luke and Leia.
Leia's going to go with Bail. Leia was going to go with Bail, and it was.
I mean,
and you knew it was Bail Organa.
Storyline is questionable anyway, but yeah. This is so stinking nerdy. I think we just need to roll right into what are we nerding out about, because it's only going to get worse from here, I think, for all of us. So what nerdy? So going from Marvel to Star Wars, I believe we're going to go to Pokemon right now.
All right, cool. So Pokemon trading card game Pocket just released for Android and iPhone this week. In fact, yesterday. I had been playing it prior because I somehow got a hold of the New Zealand release. And it is a very fun, very quick game, kind of like on Marvel Snap type level, only maybe even a little simpler than that. The cool thing about it is you rip packs open just like you would in real life, and to the point where you can actually, once you rip the pack open, you get the stack of cards, and you can tilt the cards to see if you got any of the special cards, because you can see the border. So it gives all. You can even open them up with the front facing the opposite direction, so you can open them up backwards if you like, because some people do that, right? So, but then they have like the special cards from the packs, like the full art cards and whatnot, and they have what other special cards that are special to the game called immersive cards, where there's artwork. Like I pulled an immersive Charizard. So you click on the card and it zooms into the artwork and does a fly through of all the scenery in the art. And it's just cosmetic, but it's fun. The game itself is a cut down version of the trading card game, if you're at all familiar with it, where you have one Pokemon as your active Pokemon, and then you have a 3-card bench, and that's it. And you've got all the regular cards from the packs. They only have one set in the game right now, but it's still very fun. It's a lot of fun. And the reason I tagged Android on this is because it won't run on most tablets, because they want you to play the full version of the trading card game on your tablet.
Wow.
So, in order to play on a bigger screen, I figured a way to mirror my Android phone on my PC. So now, if I want to stream that game, I can stream it directly from my PC, because it won't work in the emulators. It won't work in BlueStacks, because BlueStacks thinks it's a tablet or whatever. It doesn't work.
Sure.
So literally, this solved a lot of other problems for me, because now I can stream literally my phone onto my computer.
There you go.
And run any app that I want, and hear all the audio through my headphones and everything. So it's great.
So can you, with Android, can you control your phone with your mouse and keyboard?
Yes.
Okay, because I can put my iPhone onto my computer, but I still have to control it with my phone.
Yeah.
So
complete mouse and keyboard interface.
Nice.
Yep. It's
Get
awesome.
all the viruses from Russia.
Not at all.
But Kurt, do you still play the Marvel Snap?
Barely. I played that so much that I got burnt out. So I am not getting burnt out on Balatro. I'm still playing the heck out of that thing. But Marvel Snap, I go back every now and then just to see what's changed, and a lot has changed. But I can't get sucked into that environment anymore.
I hear you.
But it's a great game. It's a great game.
Time to really, I enjoyed it, absolutely. I just didn't have the time to stick with grinding it, and I might try this TCG Pocket, because it does sound kind of fun. But also Kurt was like, "Hey, it dropped today." It's like, stop! You already got me on Balatro. You already told me some other game I ignored intentionally.
Yep.
You know, so
there's a lot of really good casual type games coming out, and a lot of them are quote unquote roguelike, which just means infinite replayability is really what it is. And
what I realized I should have done is wrote down the seeds of the ones I did beat on Balatro to then have them as a challenge. All right, I think this goes along with the Pokemon. Random Kid says, I'm nerding out about Nintendo music. Now, it might have nothing to do with Pokemon other than Nintendo company, but I'm going to read the rest of his comments and see what you guys say. I don't know anything about this. I'm loving having all the Nintendo music in my pocket. You need NSO, but still, I don't know what NSO is.
Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, I heard about this. It's a brand new app that Nintendo put out. As far as I know, it's just their music. But I think you can actually, there's a toggle that you can say no spoilers, so it, like event specific music won't play in games or something like that. I don't know to what extent that is, but yeah, I heard there's a no spoilers flag on it.
But even then, so you can.
I mean, but you can just YouTube
the Nintendo Switch Online app on your phone, or is
No,
he carrying the Switch in his pocket?
I think it's on the Switch.
I think
Okay.
I think it's in the App
Okay,
Store,
so it's
but
a
you have to
Nintendo
log
Music
in.
app.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and you have to log in with your Nintendo login, and you have to have Nintendo Switch Online. I think that's how that
Gotcha, you
works.
pay for the yearly online access package.
Right.
Yeah,
That
which
is
the
so-
cheapest one is like $20 a year.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you get the better one, it's like $70 a year. But that includes like they've got it divvied up. So if you want just the older stuff, it's the basic $20,
Right.
and that also gives you online connectivity. Like you need Nintendo Switch Online to play Minecraft together and stuff like that. Which
Pretty
is
much
what
any game with connectivity.
yeah.
Basically, the only thing
So-
you can do online for free is go to the Nintendo Store and buy games.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but their online services kind of suck in general. Like just connectivity. Like you and I, we tried to do it for a game night, play Mario Party, and it kept disconnecting us.
Sure,
yeah,
that
they-
wasn't Charles's connection.
No, I think. I mean, it could have been, but I think it's Nintendo servers are not truly meant for online multiplayer. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
We need to do another game night. I am into a game night you might see coming soon to a rated R stream near you of Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Now it's been out for a hot minute.
Yeah.
I got excited because they dropped the trailer for Borderlands 4, the teaser trailer, which it shows you nothing, but it looks so gorgeous and got me so excited. I'm like, I'm down. Shut up and take my money.
Just like the movie got you so excited, right?
Never. It never got excited, and it did okay. It did okay. The fans don't know this is going to be horrible, and that's not rolling. But then it went, it's kind of cool to see Pandora and Quirty Fingers real life. You know,
Now, I do have a question for you since this topic's been broached. The old live action Mario Brothers or Borderlands? Which would you rather
Come on.
rewatch?
Borderlands. Mario's the worst. It's the worst.
Just trying to get
At least in
a
Borderlands, I
metric.
can go, hey,
Okay.
I like that bus. That looks really unique.
All right, let's keep going.
No, I'm telling you, I'm nerding out, nerds. No.
We're doing nerd tangents.
That's not. We didn't roll a dice to get a critical roll to get nerd tangents. You got to roll a 19 or higher for that.
On a six-sided dice.
You can change it in a minute. Just put a pin in it. 'Cause I want to talk about Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It is, if you like Borderlands and you want to dip your toe in the water of Dungeons and Dragons, this is perfect. It absolutely has some of the underlining stuff from building the character and rolling some stats, and they matter how you boost your stats. You can min max and this and that and the other. Borderlands will always balance. It will always do that. But you can build the characters how you want, and it takes the core heart of Borderlands with the guns and really puts a D&D magical element on top of it to make it different enough from the game, in my opinion. And the reason it's coming to a stream near you is I gifted it to Phil because it's on a stupid crazy. I think I gifted it last Thursday night when we were recording the show because it's on. It was on a massive sale. I got the big $80 collector's edition for $17, and it has a ton of the DLC on it. So I gifted it to Phil, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? TV's Travis, who roped us into watching Borderlands the movie, and we were on. Wait, you haven't seen Borderlands at DragonCon?" He's like, hey, he would love to play this too. So I reached out to him, and it's possible that three of us are going to sometime between now and the end of the year just pop on to some streams and play, because you can play 4 people and it does do cross platform, and it is enough different. I'm playing back through some of the stuff in Borderlands 3 at the same time as playing this, and it hits two different vibes in that same Venn diagram, if you will. What's that? Oh, knocking noise. Is that Kurt's 3D printer?
It could be. It literally could be.
Knocking noise.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like every now and again. I have heard that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's wrapping up a print.
So it is now Joe's turn, so you can tangent nerd away. Go ahead. Let's go down. What would you rather watch? Beavis and Butthead Do America or Pee Wee Herman?
Well, one, there's no argument. And two, Borderlands the movie or Double Dragon the movie?
Borderlands.
So it's funny you say that because I rewatched Double Dragon maybe about 5 months back or so. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, to be honest. I mean, it's not good, but
right.
I was expecting it to be worse. I'd seen it before, but I was just expecting it to be worse than it was, and maybe the low bar made it.
Okay, all right. Borderlands the movie or Dragon Ball Z the live action film?
Oh, come on, I tried
Dragon
watching
Ball
it.
Z sucked.
Yeah, I tried. I couldn't finish watching.
No, it was horrible.
I
Yeah,
think
it was the worst.
James Marsters, right? Isn't that his name? The one that played Piccolo, and he's also Spike in Buffy.
Yes, yeah.
So,
I think he goes by a different name in the credits for that, specifically
really?
to avoid being associated with it.
Okay, that's not a bad segment. Your Borderlands the movie but we've tangented away, and Joe has like 15 things he's nerding out about right now.
I put
Besides
2.
Double Dragon. So
Double Dragon. Oh, all right. So the first thing I put in there is AHK, which stands for Auto Hotkey. It is a program that you can write programs for simulating your keyboard or mouse clicks. And so I've gotten into messing around with that specifically to do some grindy stuff on Final Fantasy VIII.
I knew it. I knew you were hacking a game. I knew it.
And so there is, once you get further in the game and you get some abilities, there is a sequence that you can do that you buy stuff from the store, you turn it into a different item, and then you sell the other item, and it makes you money, more than what you spent on it. But you don't want to sit there and do that over and over and over and over. And so I created a little auto hotkey script that I can turn on, and it can sit there and just generate me money. So that was the first script I did. And then I took that and I modified it a bit more because there's items that you can buy from the store and then convert them again. And it gives you stat ups. And so I made scripts that will go and do the money building enough to buy the items so I can get like 100 HP ups or 100 magic ups and things like that, so that I can, make my guys crazy OP. And it's for Final Fantasy VIII, you really, really don't need max stats to win, but I just wanted to do it just to say I've done it on 3 of the characters, give them max stats, other than luck, because the luck stat is ridiculous. Like the grind it takes more time to max out your luck than it takes to max out all of your other stats combined. So I'm not planning on maxing out the luck on my people, but I wanted to max out the other stats that you can max out. So on half the characters, on 3 of the characters, because you only use 3 at a time anyway. But yeah, so it's been an interesting learning experience, because while it has some similarities to programming languages in general, because it's just a script. It had a lot of different nuances that I wasn't expecting, and some things that I didn't even think of initially that I had, of hurdles that I had to overcome. Like, for instance, I needed to put a delay between when I have the script say push down a key and then let up a key, because if you just say, because there is a way to just say press a key, and if I was in, say, a text editor, that would work just fine typing it up, but the game didn't detect it. And so I had to add a 50 millisecond delay in order for it to detect that it pushed a key and let up a key. And so, yeah, so it's been very interesting. and I yes, I'm a nerd. It's fun. I like it. The other thing I put on here, unless you wanted to comment on that,
I do a little bit. Kurt, where was this fool back in the Facebook days when Marvel Alliance launched? Because
No
I
kidding.
could have used a keyboard clicker to collect all that stupid silver and send Luke Cage back out on the flight deck.
So the thing is, though, tell me you didn't use that script that was available on Firefox only.
I didn't because at the time we were on the show. No, it was the thing when we were on the show. And I was like, we were building. Ib and I were building something new. And it was just me. I was like, one, I'm always worried that scripts like that will screw up my computer, and I hate having to reset it. And the other one was like, we were kind of setting ourselves up as the good guys in the industry because Ib's the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Right.
And he tried to make me better, and I just pulled him to the dark side. But I actually didn't because I was just worried about it. I did use Puffin browser, which was technically like a cheap. I wanted to play it on my phone.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
I ran the Firefox script to do the flight deck stuff because it made you a lot more money.
Oh, I didn't want to get banned from my account either, in case, because that was always the threat. They'd find out, blah blah.
Yeah.
But Joe, I think you had another one. Yeah.
I did. So
that's it for the show, folks.
Oh.
People are knocking on my door.
what a jerk!
Trick or treat. You didn't bring me a treat, so I tricked you.
You're not even supposed to be here tonight.
Yeah, get out of here.
So a few months back, Kelsey and I went through and watched the newer Planet of the Apes movies, and I had commented that she's never watched the older ones, and I was trying to figure out where to watch it. And at the time, none of our streaming services had it. I was even contemplating buying a box set on Amazon, but
Are we talking about the new one or the 70s one?
well, I'm talking about both. We watched the newer ones earlier. Now we wanted to go back and watch the 70s
ones.
Yes,
gotcha.
the late 60s, early 70s ones. But at some point, Hulu got all of them. And so we went through over the past 6 weeks or so and watched the five older movies. And yeah, they go really weird, especially number two. Number two goes super weird. You're muted yourself, Kurt.
As soon as I started talking, I knew that. Is number two the one with the nuclear cult?
Yes.
Okay, seriously? That's what we're going to not cut out. We're going to not clip the line that going number two is super weird. That's the line we want to cut out. That's why I thought you were leaving Curtis coming in with a joke. You're going to spike on him.
No.
Yeah. That number two was a spooky dookie.
It's weird. It is weird.
Kelsey, get your boy.
Oh man. And then and then after that it's all timey-wimey stuff even more so. And then I completely forgot that Charlton Heston, he's in the first one, and then he's only kind of sort of in the second one, and that's it.
Yep. And then Ricardo Montalban is in a bunch, but not a bunch, but he's a prominent figure. So what about the TV series, Joe?
I don't even know where to stream that. I have seen several of those episodes when I was younger, but I have no idea. I think I tried looking up to see if they were streaming anywhere, and I don't think they were.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
And it was
because I was thinking about doing the same
season,
thing,
right? I think it was only one season, maybe two.
I don't even remember.
I don't think it lasted long. The one scene that I remember from the series was the astronauts teaching the apes how to farm properly, that they take the big corn and use that as their seed corn so that their crop continues to get bigger, because they had been using the small corn. So they weren't using the genetically superior corn as their seed corn to increase their crop yield. That's like one of the only scenes I remember from the TV show. And
I think it was only one. It looks like it's only one season in 1974.
Okay. So, but yeah. So the prosthetics held up better than I expected them to, given that they're 50 years old.
That was a big deal when that movie came out, though. Like I remember, I think, well, it was reruns because I was too young. But I remember Johnny Carson having Roddy McDowell on the Tonight Show, but wearing the mask, and because of the way the mouths moved and the integration with the eyes and everything, it really remarkable that they were able to achieve that.
Yeah, well, and how much personality they were able to, the actors were able to convey, even with that much prosthetics on.
Yep.
They did a really good job of just the prosthetics and also just shooting around it. Like they really did good at drawing you into their eyes, because they a lot of the emotion was portrayed through their eyes. But yeah, no, they did really, really good. So,
but yeah, I was thinking about going back and watching those movies, watching the newer movies, because I can never remember the right order of those. So I'd have to look that up.
We had to constantly look at, okay, what's the next one?
And so watching them, and because I think at some point, was it War? But one of them, the movies took a turn for the better. Like they got significantly better. And then it made me want to go back and watch the old timey ones as well.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited to see where the newer ones go, because from what I've heard, they're planning on at least 2 more.
Okay.
So, because they were like, because they've done 4 so far, but there's that huge time gap between 3 and 4 on the newer ones.
Yeah.
It's like 200 or 300 years. Like it's unspecific, but that's the estimate.
Okay.
And so they said the first 3 is Caesar's trilogy, and then they wanted to do another trilogy post Caesar in the 200-300 year time skip.
Okay.
So last I heard, they're planning on 2 more of the newer movies, and we'll see where they go from there.
Sweet.
Well, with that, I believe it's time to go check on the kids' candy and see what we want to get into.
We have so much candy.
So Joe, how much Reese's did you set aside?
Oh, there's a ton of Reese's in there. I didn't set any aside. My kids aren't fond of Reese's anyway, so they're not going to eat too many of them.
Okay. Let me ask you this though. Hey Joe, why are graveyards so noisy?
So these guys
Why?
don't know when I'm rapping.
Because of all the coughing.
Podcast. Hey.
Oh yeah, all the coughing. Yep, that's right. and the podcast can hear Charles, but the stream can't, because I muted him.
Well, that's our show for tonight. We'll see you guys next week.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock On Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
And Vio by Kurt everywhere.
Kurt's got muted for the podcast. Oh, yeah.
Okay. No, you got muted. Didn't you see?
Oh,
RandomKid said muted.